preserve your constitutional rights?
That's right. Our constitutional rights are being impinged upon by the governor, who is unconstitutionally telling us that we cannot work, we cannot go to the store and buy certain products. He's acting like a dictator, and he needs to go now.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And the world, but he wants you to know he misspoke, or maybe we misinterpreted him. I don't think so either, and here's why. Maybe you should choose your words a little bit more carefully when your order is causing law enforcement to be guarding our beaches. When you make the decision that you're going to use law enforcement authority and resources to guard beach land, which is the safest place to be right now, then I'm sorry, we might misinterpret when you start talking about contact investigators taking people from their homes. Now, one of the things that the media likes to claim about us is that our protests in and of themselves is somehow a violation of social distancing. We are dangerous. We are part of the problem. I'd like you to help me with a little experiment here. I don't know how this is going to go. This will be very interesting. How many people here, by a show of hands, either were at last week's rally or know someone who was? Raise your hand. Okay. So every single person here was either at last week's rally or they know someone who was. All right, another show of hands. How many people here know somebody, either yourself or somebody in your family, know somebody who got the coronavirus in the last week? Anybody? Anybody? I see one hand in the back. We have one. Okay, so we have one person in a county where we have had just over 600 cases in 55 days, where we were told by Dr. Levin we would have 400 to 600 hospitalizations a day. A day. Now, I'm sorry, when you're that wrong about something this important, and then you embarrass the county in a nationwide fashion by claiming that we're going to have contact investigators take people from their homes, you know what that means? You get fired. You get fired. You are no longer fit for your office. You are no longer fit for your office. You are an embarrassment. And the Board of Supervisors needs to be held accountable for why Dr. Levin is still running this county like a dictator. Now, speaking of people who are running this county like a dictator, the only way this is going to change, this is not going to change because of Gavin Newsom, folks. I hate to break it to you. Gavin Newsom is completely and totally invested in this. Just yesterday, did you hear the rule he has created for counties to be able to open up on their own? This is unbelievable. This is absolutely unbelievable. First of all, we have to have, this is a direct quote from the LA Times, we have to have enough detectives to be able to round people up. Those are the words, detectives, to round people up. But even more insane than that, we have to have 0 deaths for 14 straight days. 0 deaths. Now, this would be insane under normal circumstances, but we're living in a county where we have had 19 deaths for just over 50 days of this insanity, one of which, the youngest of which, was a 37-year-old man who died of a drug overdose. So how in the world can you possibly have 14 days straight of no one dying when that's how you're counting deaths? So it's not going to come from Gavin Newsom, and unless they fire Dr. Levin, it's not going to come from him. I believe our only hope is law enforcement. And this is my last message for you. when you have contact with law enforcement, whether it's directly Sheriff Abe or people who work with Sheriff Abe or just other peace officers around the county and in the cities, please lobby them. Lobby through their common sense. Lobby to their patriotism. Lobby towards a sense of liberty and freedom and what this country was about. Because the only way we can stop Governor Newsom is if he believes his orders will not be carried out. And the only way that will happen is if discretion comes from our law enforcement. And that will only happen if people in their orbit say, knock this off. This is not America. This is not America. Thank you for coming. Stay strong. This is going to be a long battle, but no, we will win if we stay strong. And this is America. God bless America.
Thank you again, John Ziegler.
Using the COVID.
I have Dr. Anderson. Thank you. Give a round of applause to Dr. Anderson, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Shawnee Anderson. I am a licensed psychologist, and I have a private practice in Thousand Oaks. I was here last week, and I spoke about those silent victims, the unknown victims that we have as a result of this lockdown. People are only talking about the deaths from the virus. Nobody is talking about the catastrophic mental health devastation that is occurring worldwide. Last week I talked about patients I have that are being abused at home because they are trapped at home with their perpetrators. They are victims of domestic violence. They will not call the police because they know their perpetrator will come after them. The countless children that are also trapped at home with angry, frustrated parents that are becoming victims of child abuse. They're not even being reported because our mandated reporters are also under lockdown. We also are having a huge increase in addictions. We have an 150% increase in alcohol sales, the silent drinking behind doors, the silent drug use behind doors. Mental health has gone off the charts, and we finally have data. A study was conducted 10 days ago by a psychologist at San Diego State University and a psychologist at Florida State University. They compared individuals, adults, from 2018 and their mental health status to adults measured on April 27th of 2020 because of the lockdown. I have crazy results for you. For those who suffer with a serious mental illness, in 2018, it was 3.5% of our population. Now, in 2020, because of this lockdown, it has increased 8 times, over 24%. We are up to over 27% of our population is suffering from severe mental illness due to this lockdown. It gets even worse. From those that have moderate to severe mental illness, it went from 22% of our population to 70% of our population is now fighting moderate to severe mental illness and stress because of this lockdown. That is a 48% increase. People, this has to stop. We need to be the voice for the silent and unknown victims. Who's with me? Thank you.
Deborah, our next speaker.
Hi, everyone. So I've been passing out a plan. What is the plan? The plan is how we hold the elected officials, the Board of Supervisors, who ultimately are the boss of Dr. Levin. How do we hold them accountable? There are 3 steps. We only need 2 numbers. We have actually 3 numbers. The population, the total population, the total number of cases, and the total number of deaths. And we look at that as a function of the state and of the county. If we look at that for Ventura County, as of the latest results yesterday, and these are all numbers you yourself can check, the state has a population of 39.5 million people. 4% of the people have died from the number of cases. 4%. Less than 0.1% are deaths to the total population. Less than 0.1% are deaths to the total population. 4% of the deaths to the total number of cases. That's the state. LA County has over half of the deaths in the entire state are registered in LA County. Those numbers, 10 million people, 4.8% deaths to total cases, less than 0.1% total deaths to the population. Ventura County, adjacent to LA, 846,000 people, 2.94% of deaths to the total cases in Ventura County, 2.94, and it doesn't even register on the percentage, except if you go out 4 places, for the deaths by population in the county. The plan, as long as Ventura County, its percentages remain lower than the state and lower than LA County, open this county up with no red tape, period. Period. If you want the plan, you can write to driving, the number 4, freedom @gmail.com. That's driving, the number 4, freedom @gmail.com. I'll send you the plan. Can you imagine if the elected officials, if the 5 Board of Supervisors, if they get this plan from 100, 200, 300 of us, they will do several things. These are all the numbers we need, that we, the people, can check them ourselves, and that we are holding them accountable for every bit of what they do and don't do, and what they don't do. So, driving for freedom @gmail.com. And let me make an editorial note. Bob Huber, who is the newest supervisor to the board, is the only supervisor who is standing with us. If you did not hear his remarks, I encourage you to thank him, listen to them. He is the only one speaking up for us. Bob Huber. Thank Bob Huber. The rest of them have got to be told what they need to do, period.
All right, thank you. Now we have Pastor Rob. Put your hands together for Pastor Rob.
Okay, Rob. How's everybody doing? We're in this for the long haul. And these are the folks that, it may not be sunny out, it's overcast, but you came out. You're warriors. I appreciate this. We don't give up on this fight. You know, it was Thomas Paine who said, "These are the times that try men's souls. A summer soldier and a sunshine patriot will in this season shrink from the duty of their country, but those that defend it now, those are the ones that deserve the love and the respect." It's folks that enter into this for the long haul. It's going to require effort. It's just not a visceral email that you send to a friend. It's not coming out for one protest. It is a long haul. is holding those government officials accountable. This is called consent of the governed. We are the boss, we the people. They govern by our consent. This coronavirus, COVID-19, has a new name. It's called the controlla virus. They're not going to muzzle us. They're not going to silence us. They're not going to censor us. We're going to get bigger and bolder and push back. I want to share this last thing with you. And this is critical. When this nation was founded, they were going through a smallpox epidemic. All the British were immune. And it was Washington who said, we got to figure out if we're going to allow our soldiers to be immunized to this, not with an injection, as you know how they did it back then. And they knew there'd be a 2 to 3% death rate in the Continental Forces. They did it anyways. Their families were subjected to it, and every soldier was immunized to it. But here's the secret. They endured a smallpox epidemic, were willing to be infected by it, not for liberty, but for the ability to fight for liberty. You have that liberty. Defend it. Fight for it. Do not be apathetic. Do not stand by on the sideline waiting for someone else to do it. This is a constitutional republic. We hold them accountable. They govern by our consent, and they're not going to frighten us. They're not going to muzzle us, and it's time to let them know that. God bless you guys. Let's keep up the fight. And by the way, one last thing. If you're looking for a place to go for church, and you're wondering why they're not open, our state does not consider the church essential, even though the First Amendment